i ka la'i e o wai ale ale la I wai lua. Hu kia ela I ka lani ka papa a wai o ka waikini. A lai ia ela e no nalo ka ipu haa ka laula mau ka ka paa e. Mai paa I ka leo, he ole ka hea mai e. Aloha mai kākou, o wau no o Candace Galla o Wahine Kapu Galla. O Hawaii ku one hānau. I'd like to acknowledge that we are on the unceded Coast Salish territory and express my deep gratitude to the Kakite and Musqueam First Nations as they have ties to this land. He pūkoʻa kani ʻāina, creating pathways for Indigenous language vitality. I began today with the Hawaiian language, or Olelo Hawaii, which is the Indigenous language of Hawaii. Many of us have come to know Hawaii as a vacation destination, but what we may not know is that Hawaiian language was banned from schools in 1896, 3 years after the illegal overthrow of the Hawaiian Kingdom by the United States government. These efforts, along with many other factors, have contributed to language decline, so much so that Native Hawaiians like myself did not have an opportunity to learn or acquire Hawaiian language as a first language. In the 1980s, there were less than 50 children under the age of 18 that spoke Hawaiian as a native language. So how does this apply to us here today? If we think of diversity, 97% of the world's population speaks 4% of the world's languages. And this includes languages like English, French, Spanish, Mandarin, and Arabic. 3% of the world's population speak 96% of the world's languages. And these languages include endangered and indigenous languages like Hawaiian and BC First Nations languages. Which demographic do you identify with? What about your partner? Your parents and grandparents? Your children and grandchildren? And what about your friends and colleagues? And what language are we privileging here today on this stage? English and French, the official languages, the settler colonial languages of what we now know as Canada, are not in danger. Even if English and French cease to be spoken in this country that many of us call home, we would still be able to hear these languages spoken in many parts of the world. Now I'm going to have you close your eyes. Imagine that we are the last remaining speakers of English on this planet. How does this make you feel? Still with your eyes closed, we look around. We see familiar faces, but our children are not here. Our parents are not here because English is not their language of communication. They are not part of this English-speaking group due to many reasons that may include colonization, assimilation, cultural genocide, residential schooling, language and educational policies, language shaming, language ideologies and attitudes. As we continue to search, it is striking that we notice an absence of youth. It is obvious that there is a disruption of language transmission from one generation to the next, and in fact, English is now shifting to another, more dominant language. Now open your eyes. What would we lose if English were no longer spoken? What would we lose if English were no longer spoken? And what would we do to revitalize English? This hypothetical situation is the reality for many endangered and indigenous languages. In Hawaii, a handful of educators and parents were determined to breathe life back into Olelo Hawaii as a language of the home, school, and community. They would travel to different cities and countries in search for best language practices. And at one point, they had to determine whether it was necessary to travel on different planes just in case there was a catastrophic accident. Have you ever had to make a decision like this for the survival of a language? Across Canada, there are more than 70 Indigenous languages. In British Columbia, there are 34 First Nations languages and more than 90 dialects. How many of these languages can we name? In British Columbia, only 3% of the First Nations population are fluent in a First Nations language. 90% of this fluent population are ages 45 years and older. When we no longer have access to the language that grounds us in our identity, our land, our place, community, and family, it can be quite unnerving. The view of our world is filtered through a polarized and foreign lens. Fortunately, language and cultural programming have provided opportunities for our communities to engage with language revitalization and to reclaim their Indigenous languages. These efforts have contributed to a wave and a new generation of language learners in British Columbia with 11,000 youth. What may seem like small-scale initiatives are ripples that are making great impact. Now we're turning back to Hawaii and the small group of educators and parents who are committed to revitalize Hawaiian. They knew that it was important for Hawaiian children to be immersed in Hawaiian language. The key would be to reestablish Hawaiian language medium education schools, just like those schools that existed back in the monarchy period. They focused their efforts on nurturing a new generation of Hawaiian language speakers. Thus began the Hawaiian language revitalization movement. They were met with great challenges, but nothing stopped this group. Their children were their motivation to ensure the survival of the Hawaiian language. With less than 50 Hawaiian language speakers under the age of 18, to now more than 5,000 Hawaiian language speakers and learners who are youth in a short 30-year time frame. This goes to show not only the effort, commitment, passion, and vision that this small group had for the language and for the community. With One Language Nest preschool, Hawaiian language medium education now includes schooling from as early as 6 weeks old all the way through the doctoral degree, which is collectively known as Hawaiian language medium education from cradle to career. The Kawaiʻaia family pictured here is a testament to the Hawaiian language revitalization movement. They are 3 generations of Hawaiian language speakers who are change agents. They are living and breathing Hawaiian language in all domains of life in an effort to normalize the Hawaiian language. He pūkoʻa kani ʻāina. The stories I shared are ripples that began at the birth of the Hawaiian language revitalization movement. The tide and current have generated waves of thousands of Hawaiian language speakers and has inspired many Indigenous communities around the world. This is a story of hope, passion, and commitment. This just goes to show what a small handful of people can do. And it isn't necessary to have everyone on board to start a movement. You just need a committed few. So I leave you with these questions. What is our responsibility to Indigenous languages here as residents of Canada? And what can we do to ensure that Indigenous languages remain as part of the fabric of this country? We all, collectively and individually, have a role and responsibility. We also have the inherent right to speak and to learn our ancestral languages, which includes Indigenous languages. In the spirit of the International Year of Indigenous Languages as proclaimed by the United Nations, let's live Indigenous languages today, tomorrow, this year, and for generations to come. E ola na olelo o iwi. Mahalo.